Right now, wherever you are, if your dog is in the room with you, their brain is doing something you have never been told about. Not sleeping, not zoning out, not just existing next to you on the couch. Their brain is actively monitoring you, tracking your breathing, registering the tension in your shoulders, cataloging the way your voice sounds compared to how it sounded this morning. And they are doing all of this without making a single sound. We talk a lot about what dogs feel, but almost nobody talks about what dogs process. And when you understand what is actually firing inside your dog's skull during the most ordinary moments of your day, you will never look at a quiet evening at home the same way again. Let us walk through 5 everyday moments, and I will show you what neuroscience says is actually happening behind those eyes. 1. The moment you wake up. You open your eyes, maybe you groan, maybe you reach for your phone. Seems like nothing, right? But for your dog, this is one of the most information-dense moments of their entire day. Before you have even sat up, your dog has already completed what researchers describe as a full sensory assessment of your state. They have registered whether your breathing pattern changed gradually or suddenly, which tells them whether you woke up naturally or were startled. They have picked up on whether your cortisol levels shifted overnight through your scent. Yes, dogs can smell hormonal changes on your skin. A study out of Queen's University Belfast confirmed that dogs can detect stress-related cortisol changes in human sweat and breath with over 90% accuracy. So before your feet have touched the floor, your dog already knows whether you slept well. They know whether your body is calm or already tensing up for a difficult day, and their own internal state adjusts to match. This is not guessing. This is biological surveillance at a level that would make most medical devices look primitive. 2. The walk to the kitchen. You stand up, stretch, shuffle toward the coffee maker, and your dog follows. Most people interpret this as hunger. The dog wants breakfast, so they shadow you to the kitchen. Simple cause and effect. But that is only half of what is happening. Researchers at the University of Helsinki conducted a large-scale study on canine attention and found that dogs spend roughly 80% of their waking hours oriented toward their primary caregiver when that person is in the same space. Not eating, not playing, just tracking. And here's the detail that changes everything. The tracking is not random. Dogs preferentially monitor transitions. When you shift from one activity to another, standing up, moving to a different room, reaching for something, your dog's attention spikes. Their pupils dilate slightly. Their ears rotate forward. Their brain is running a prediction model, trying to figure out what happens next. Why? Because transitions are when information changes. And for an animal whose survival was shaped by reading human behavior, transitions are gold. So when your dog follows you to the kitchen, yes, part of it is breakfast. But the deeper layer is that you just moved, and movement means new data. Your dog is not being clingy. They are being strategic. 3. The sound of your voice on a phone call. You answer your phone. You talk for 10 minutes about something completely unrelated to your dog. Work stuff, a friend's weekend plans, the plumber coming on Thursday. Your dog was not mentioned once, and yet during that entire call, your dog's brain was working harder than it does during most fetch sessions. Here is why. Dogs do not understand the content of your phone conversations, obviously, but they are not listening for content. They are listening for prosody, the rhythm, pitch, and emotional texture of your voice. A study published in the journal Current Biology found that dogs process human vocal cues using the same brain regions that humans use. The right hemisphere handles emotional tone. The left hemisphere processes more familiar, meaningful sounds. Your dog's auditory cortex is essentially running the same emotional decoding software as a human listener, just without the vocabulary. So during that phone call, your dog heard every shift in your tone. They registered when your voice dropped, signaling seriousness. They noticed when you laughed, and their own stress levels decreased measurably in response. They caught the tight, clipped cadence that meant frustration, even if you thought you were hiding it perfectly. And when you hung up inside, your dog already knew the emotional verdict of that conversation. That is why they either padded over to check on you or stayed quietly where they were. They had already made their assessment. 4. The moment before you leave. This one is going to be hard to hear for some of you. You start gathering your things, keys, wallet, jacket. Maybe you are in a rush. Maybe you are taking your time. Either way, your dog's neurochemistry just changed dramatically. Functional MRI studies on dogs, yes, they can be trained to lie still in an MRI scanner, have revealed that when dogs detect departure cues from their owner, there is a measurable drop in dopamine activity and a spike in cortisol production. The reward system quiets down. The stress system activates. This happens before you have even reached the door. But here's the part that most people miss entirely. Dogs do not experience your departure as a single event. They experience it as a sequence of micro losses. The moment you put on shoes is one loss. The moment you pick up your bag is another. The moment you touch the door handle is another. Each one triggers its own small neurochemical response, stacking on top of the last. By the time you are actually gone, your dog has already been processing that loss for several minutes. The door closing is just the final confirmation of something their brain started grieving the instant your routine shifted. This is why some dogs seem fine when you leave and others fall apart. It is not about personality. It is about how many departure cues they have learned to detect and how early in the sequence their stress response activates. And here is something that might help. Researchers found that dogs whose owners left calmly without drawn-out goodbyes or excessive reassurance showed lower cortisol levels during the separation period. Not because the dog cared less, but because fewer emotional cues meant fewer micro-losses to stack. Sometimes the kindest goodbye is the quietest one. 5. The moment you come home. This is the one everyone thinks they understand. You walk in. Your dog loses their mind. Spinning, jumping, whimpering, full body wag. People see excitement, and it is excitement. But what is happening at the neurological level is so much more than that. When you walk through that door, your dog experiences what scientists describe as a dopamine surge that rivals the intensity of the response seen in addiction research. Their reward circuitry lights up with a speed and magnitude that is, frankly, almost excessive for the situation. But here is the key. It is not just dopamine. A study conducted by researchers in Japan found that the moment a dog makes eye contact with their returning owner, oxytocin levels spike in both the dog and the human simultaneously. This is the same neurochemical cascade that bonds mothers to their newborn children. It is not a metaphor. It is literally the same chemical pathway. And what makes this even more extraordinary is the feedback loop. Your dog looks at you. Their oxytocin rises. You look back and smile. Your oxytocin rises. Your dog reads the change in your face, and their levels climb again, back and forth, building on itself, a chemical conversation happening in complete silence. No other domesticated animal does this with humans. Not cats, not horses, not birds. This particular oxytocin feedback loop appears to be unique to the dog-human bond. It did not exist 15,000 years ago. Dogs evolved it, specifically for us. What all of this means, here is what I want you to take away from this. Your dog is not a passive creature that happens to live in your house. Every single moment they spend near you, their brain is running complex emotional and sensory processes that most humans never even suspect. They are reading your chemistry, tracking your movements, decoding your voice, anticipating your next action, and calibrating their own emotional state to match yours. And they are doing this not because they were trained to. They are doing it because thousands of years of evolution built them to. You are not their owner in the way you think of ownership. You are their primary environmental signal. You are the variable that matters most in their entire world. Everything else, food, toys, other dogs, the backyard, is secondary input. You are the main channel. So the next time your dog is lying on the floor, eyes half closed, looking like they are doing absolutely nothing, understand what is actually happening. They are tuned in. Their brain is quietly processing you, your smell, your breathing, the micro-expressions on your face, the emotional weight of the room. They are paying attention in a way that no other creature on earth pays attention to you, and they have been doing it every single day, since the first day you brought them home. If this changed how you see your dog, subscribe and hit the notification bell. We break down the real science behind what your dog is doing and why it matters more than you think. I will see you in the next one.